Love. I share compassion, he said. I share compassion, he said. I show love.
Any English that is derived from an African dialect like AAVE is considered not as intelligent, lazy, and not professional because you need to speak proper English.
Yes,
And
you should speak proper
that's
English.
derived from racism.
You should speak proper English at your job. Is that too much to ask?
Yes, it is, because it is derived from racism, and we should get away from that.
Why would you not want somebody to speak properly?
Because dialects come from different groups of people, and if we are going to say, like Lala just said, this is a melting pot, then all languages that derive from other places should be acknowledged as
It's not
proper.
a different language, though.
I didn't say it was. I said it was a dialect.
But you just said different languages should be. I can't remember the rest of it.
Right, so then it would be that would be including like English that is mixed with indigenous languages, languages that are mixed with Asian languages, languages that are mixed with African dialects.
We have to use
Right, Spanglish.
We're not talking about an English that's mixed with anything.
No, we got to use Spanish here in America, and we're not part of the Spanish. Like, we're not Spanish.
The only time I feel like that
In America, we got to use a whole another. Like, it's a. Most places they even want you to work. They want you to speak Spanish.
Well, like, in terms of people speaking up out of a different way, I don't know about going into most jobs and they want you to be bilingual. I've seen it a lot, even
Where they have someone who can speak like language that is derived specifically for medicine and with Greek and Latin basings for the words that do not translate into English directly. And they have people to translate that into layman terms for the patients. If there was not there is a clear distinction between that.
That's a hospital.
Hospital, and it's our law. That's why we're doing it. I mean, if you disagree with it, feel free to write your legislators.
but
This is a good conversation. Oh, what happened? Right, it's not.
See that?
but
Am I signed up with the Wi-Fi? Let me see. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong.
See that? Anyway.
I really want to hear this other
See that?
version.
See that? Anyway.
Damn it. Damn it, what the fuck is going on? Let's see. Alright.
See that?
Any English that is derived from an African dialect like AAVE is considered not as intelligent, lazy, and not professional because you need to speak proper English.
Yes,
And
you should speak proper English.
that's derived
at
from
your job.
racism.
You should speak proper English at your job. Is that too much to ask?
Yes, it is, because it is derived from racism, and we should get away from that.
Why would you not want somebody to speak properly?
Because dialects come from different groups of people, and if we are going to say, like Lala just said, this is a melting pot, then all languages that derive from other places should be acknowledged as
It's not a
proper.
different language, though. But you just said different languages should be. I can't remember the.
Sorry, what was that?
Welcome to the panel.
Good, thanks for having me up.
Yeah, can I get your race, ethnicity, where you're from? Don't mind.
Race and ethnicity?
Yeah.
White, mixed of Italian, German descent.
Oh, my FBAs are gonna eat me up if I have a white dude up here, bro.
I had one question though. Is all. I just had one question.
All right, let's hear it.
Well, I wanted to ask, like, are you like a supporter of what Pan-African ideology in comparison to FBI?
Well, I don't think it's like the opposite of it either. There's a lot of Black
Well, I've met
Americans.
maybe it's just the ones I've spoken to, but I've spoken to some FBAs before who are anti-Pan-African.
Pan-African. Okay, I get that.
They're anti-African, but they're pro-Black American because they claim there's a there is a different culture. But I've talked to some before. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. I think the only thing they don't like is the unity, and they're trying to seclude themselves so they can get this reparations check.
Well, if I could say one thing real quick, right? Just a little short conversation, right? The way I view it, right, is that like white Americans is a comparison. I mean, there is,
foundational white Americans.
No. I'm just talking about white Americans broadly, right? So let me say this real quick. So, like, if you compare them, right, they're not a carbon copy of continental Europeans. There is cultural differences there. They're not the exact same people.
Americans, right? That's what they're.
Well, I'm talking about like white Americans who have been here for generations, but. If you compare them to Europeans, of course, they're not a carbon copy of each other. It would just be ridiculous to say. However, right, I think that as a white person, it would just be absurd to take a completely isolated or even adversarial approach to Europeans, as they're just extended family in many senses. And maybe, due to the history of some Africans don't feel that way about continental Africans, but you literally are of the same kin. I just simply don't understand the conflict. I don't get it at all. I mean, cause I don't see Asians acting like that.
You don't get the Black Americans conflict with the Africans, or
well, I mean, of course there'll be disagreements and whatnot. Of course, not everything's not fucking dandelions, but I'm saying that like I've seen some like militant opposition of Pan-Africanism, and if I was a Black person, which I'm not, but if I was, I'd probably be a Pan-African in some sense. I would still be proud to be American, but I would support Africans globally.
Is there such thing as European, like Pan-European?
Unfortunately, I mean, there's not like a strong movement. Unfortunately, that annoys me as a white person. But because like I do care about
what annoys you. What annoys you? Sorry.
What? Oh, I'm sorry.
What annoys you? What annoys you?
Well, I wish that white people were more tribal in that sense. I wish they had more of a care for one's kin and oneself, but they really don't. I mean, even if you follow this doctrine of white supremacy, I can tell you as a white person that at least white masses, maybe white elites, white masses don't really look out for each other in many senses on the case of being white. Rather, maybe being like in the same country, being in the same vicinity. Yeah, but like a person in Canada is not worried about someone in Latvia or Poland. Like they don't think that. Okay, so like
let me say this. So I hear what you're kind of saying. But like you have white, like everybody's on code to be white. You have all these Europeans that come into the fold of being white when you immigrate here, right? And so the Black people, my Black people, right, Black Americans. I know it sounded crazy. They're not on code. We're not on code about being all Black. You know what I mean? So you have actually people working together to come under one fold, right? So
well, I mean, hey, listen, I would actually push back on that a little bit. If we're talking about like continental Europe, dude, go tell that to the Balkans, dude. Go tell a Serbian that, oh yeah, man, you and Albanians.
When you immigrate to America, though, that's what I was talking about.
Well, I mean, like maybe in some sense, but even then, you still like have some. I mean, I think it's subsided a lot.
How you see Europeans abroad is different than I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I think you used to have that when it was like almost all Europeans.
What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, here's the thing again.
So here, let me give you a little context. So Black Americans are mad about Africa. Sorry to cut you off, but I gotta give it to you right here.
Well, hold on, you said something though that was kind of. I just wanted to add some context. You kind of said it a little bit.
Let me just get this out before I forget it. So a lot of Black Americans are mad because Black immigrants are coming here and coming under that same fold, the same one I'm talking about, right, Les? So go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Well, I just wanted to point out, right, that like, I hear this idea from people like Robin DiAngelo, like Ibram X. Kendi and other kind of, like Black activists kind of in that fold. This idea that, they weren't white, like, for example, Italians, Russian, Spanish, Poles, Irish, they weren't white until, the elite whites decided that we could allow them in because it would be, better to to pivot or against the other minorities in the country.
Right.
And listen, no doubt there was conflict, but the thing is that there is even discrimination in some form, absolutely. For example, against Irish and whatnot. But that was more. There was a lot more nuance to that than is let on. For example,
How much?
Well, I'm
Yeah,
explaining
yeah.
it right. Well, I'm explaining it right now. For example, you have the Italians and the Irish, right, who were historically Catholic. They were, the Italians were Roman Catholic. The Irish were Catholic for a very long time. Like 150 years ago, America was vastly Protestant, overwhelmingly Protestant, and not just Protestant. It was mostly English, right? So, not for the Irish specifically, not only were they Catholic, a completely contrasting religion, but they also had a deep ethnic, kind of tribal feud with the Brits going back to their ancestral homeland. Because of course the Brits, kind of ruled over the Irish for a long time. That was a lot of the reason for a lot of discrimination against Irish people. It was literally because you had Brits who had like a feud going back to their homeland. It wasn't because they didn't see them as European. They thought they were European. But the thing is also with Italians, I mean, again, as an Italian, when Italians came here along with Irish, it wasn't all smooth sailing. There was criminals, there was mobs. A lot of them went back, right? And then it was not all smooth sailing. But within a generation or two, I wouldn't say it's not like they became English, but or they completely were they were like a carbon copy of the founding fathers, but they integrated into being very good, productive Americans who were patriotic. And I think that they are largely indistinguishable from white people today. Now, I basically just take the approach that, understanding the nuance, that it wasn't because they were developing this convoluted in real times convoluted sense of white. It was more like beefs and feuds that had a lot more nuance than, I'm lighter skinned than you. That wasn't really.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when we're talking about, oh my God, you said a lot.
Basically, it was religion.
No, but
and
here,
cultural
I do
feuds
wanna-
is what it was. It was religion. A lot of it.
I don't want to forget my thought. It was you're still coming into a fold, right? Whether you're Italian and all the other demographics in Europe, right? Coming into the fold. That's what I was trying to say, that Black American.
That's true in a sense, but it was
So, I hear the pushback, right? Like they went after Italians until Italians were able to be a melting pot, right? America was known for a melting pot, right? So I think that xenophobia, the American exceptionalism, the patriotic that is masked as racism is the past. And so we have that in every demographic, until they're let in per se, And so but do you think that Black American people are in cahoots with them in the sense of like doing this whole anti-immigration, like this current administration? Do you think does it benefit a Black American to be heritage American?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Chris. I'll be very honest with you. I'm a pretty right-wing guy. I'm a nationalist in a sense, right? And the way I view it, I'm very much in. I support immigration moratorium, just for context. So I'm very much anti-immigration. That being said, I'll be honest. Yeah, even though it does affect Black people, it does absolutely. I mean, Black people even 100 years ago, 50, 80, 100 years ago, they were like 10% of the population. Today they're 14%, and that's with African immigration, right? So like, it's not like they've exploded in population. People always talk about white birth rates, Black birth rates, and Black American birth rates are below replacement level as well. And if you look at a lot of cities or even places that used to be majority Black at one point, or used to have a prominent Black, neighborhood or kind of enclave, a lot of these places have been just not through diversity, right? Now they are no longer Black, right? So what I'm getting at, though, and I'll say this right here, I don't think Black people care about immigration, because based on the statistics, we have vast surveys on this. Black people are literally the most pro-immigration race in the country. They are the most anti-ICE race in the country. This is based on surveys from recent years.
Okay. Hey, give me a DM on that, because the thing that is happening on TikTok, we see Black Americans like. So this is what I hate about people grouping each other up, right? I never call Black Americans is still like Black American is a term for Black people in America. When we're talking about African Americans or FBA, we want to make clear distinctions. Black history. We have a foundational white American on the bill. But dude, you said
Oh no,
something.
I'm not a foundational white American. That belongs to the English. I'm only
It
here
was a
so
joke, kind of last. Like we
yeah,
had, it was a joke. Like
yeah.
we had another. We had your people up here last time. You know, the FBS are gonna kill me when they see your. But you know, it's very interesting, and I will allow this conversation to happen because
Well, can I be honest with you for a second?
align themselves with this anti-immigration thought process, you know, and like we come after the Mexicans, we come after the East Africans, you know.
Well, you know,
And
can I be honest with you for a second, right? You know, I'm a guy who I will talk to anybody. I'll talk to a communist. I'll talk to anybody of any race. I'll talk to a nationalist. I don't care. I'll talk to anybody. And the thing is, though, is that I've talked to plenty of black people and plenty of FBAs on this app. And what I find often is I don't get a chance to even make my stance. They will gang up on me. They'll mute me.
I
They'll
should
kick me
have
from the
dropped
panel.
you last.
I mean, okay, yeah,
This
sure.
is not-
But hold on,
this is
let me
not a
quickly finish
space
this thought,
for
though,
that,
because
but
this is
I
relevant.
get what you're saying.
No, hold on,
Go
this is
ahead.
relevant because I was going to add a historical thing right here.
Go
If
ahead.
you look at, for example, the Black Panthers, I don't support them, but a lot of black people do. One of the prominent Black Panthers was Stokely Carmichael, right? Stokely Carmichael debated George Lincoln Rockwell, a full hour debate. Do you know who George Lincoln Rockwell was? The head of the American NZ party, I will say, okay, for TikTok. But dude, the Black Panthers were debating heads of the American NZ party, and you have so-called FBAs who will quote Black Americans and Malcolm X and Nation of Islam, and they won't even talk to a white person. It's like, and they think that is a defiant act, sure, but I mean, it's easy to stand strong in your ideas when they're not challenged ever. I respect people who will have conversations based on facts.
Can I ask you this question? Do you think that most Black Americans won't fuck with white Americans? And this is
I don't think black
Are
people
you-
like white people. No, I don't think
yeah, but like which ones do and which ones don't?
I couldn't give you a number, but I would
Is
tell.
it an anecdotal
I would.
experience? Because like I know.
Well, and I didn't live around many black people, so I couldn't tell you. But based on what I've seen, and I would simply say that a lot of black people have disdain towards white people. I think white people feel that, and for as much as you want to, people call white people racist. I think white people are oftentimes very, cowardly. They don't want to mention race in any aspect. They want to avoid it, but they will try anything. And I can tell you, as a white person, plenty of people do this, regardless if you realize it or not. White people will bend over backwards to be perceived not as racist. They will do anything to not be called racist. And
No,
I'm telling you. So it's like we have surveys, for example, the National Crime Victimization Survey, an incredibly large.
White people don't have balls. That's what I heard.
No, listen, I'm telling you, as a white person, I
You
wish
said he
more
was
white people
FBA
would
or
talk
something.
about it.
No, he's not FBA. It's a
FWA.
foundation. It was a joke. It was a joke. Like I said, it's a foundation for white Americans.
Is he white tee?
Yeah, I am.
He is
So-
with it.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, I'm gonna let him land, and then you can respond to him. Okay, Black?
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
saying this right here, right? So what I was going to say real quick, and again, I listen, as a white person, white people are a group too. They're a people too, so they should have interests as well. And that's what I support. Well, as a white person, for example, here's a fact for you. There was a survey in 2024 called the National Crime Victimization Survey. It asked 230,000 Americans, so a very, very large survey. Hey, what crime was committed against you this year? What was the race of the perpetrator? Basically, when accounting for population sizes, it found that black on white violent crime was 38 times higher than white on black violent crime. Okay. So as a white person, what should I take from that? Should I just, should I just think nothing of that? Should I ignore it, or should I maybe act accordingly?
Can you reiterate that one more time?
Yeah, to the point, right? A survey, which I can link you to right now, a very large survey, found that black people commit violent crimes against white people at 38 times the rate that white people do on blacks.
I think it's based off proximity, to tell you the truth, right? So most people commit the crimes where they're like surrounded by.
Well,
the
broadly
same
that's
demographic.
true, but this is its own thing. That doesn't.
But that
respond.
I mean, is it sourced up? Can you
Yeah.
source-
If you look up, I can tell you right now. If you go to the 2024 National Crime Victimization Survey, it's on table 13.
All right, Mr. Black.
And what it is it gives you the figures. There's well over 500,000 black on white violent crimes and little over 50,000 white on black violent crimes. When accounting for the year, which the latest census reports we have are about 57% white, non-Hispanic, which even includes some non-European groups, but whatever. So 57% white and 14% black. When accounting for those figures and those population sizes, the math comes out to black people commit violent crime against white people at 38 times higher rate than white people do against blacks. That's what the data
All right,
shows.
Lats, I'm gonna ask you just to pull that up so everybody listening.
Okay, I actually only have one follower. I cannot put it on my screen, but I just told you exactly where to find. I can put the link in the comments if you'd like.
Put it in the comments. Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure,
Thank
sure.
you. Go ahead, Black History.
I mean, what's some of the main statements that you made? Because I came a bit late, so I kind of didn't hear like everything. You know?
We were all over the place. So
Yeah, we were talking about a number of things. Hey, I put it in the comments. It's on table 13, which is on page 14. And like I said, it's not going to. It's not. It doesn't literally
to say what that black people are committing more crimes in the
It's specifically tracking interracial violent crime. It's not just crime; it's interracial violent crime. So it's black on white or white on black. And what it found is that literally in America, black on white is 38 times higher for violent crime than white on black. That's what the survey.
What does the data say about which race commits the most violence? 'Cause I know it says generally is whitey. But then when you talk about the
by rates, absolutely, that's not true at all. By rates, no.
Okay, so you're saying that BLK people commit more crime in the UK.
Black people have more raw homicide arrests every year than white people. That's total numbers.
Is that just homicide? What about general crime like violence and theft and all these?
In every violent crime, black people have a higher
rape and all those things, huh?
Is that within the white supremacy society that they're doing this?
Well, no. Listen, he's asking me a question, right? So you're asking about violent crime. Every single violent crime, black people have a higher rate than white people. Every single one.
So when you say violent, is there an unaliving going on, or is there an assault? Like, you know, a lot of black people that got committed for something, they end up getting exonerated and stuff like that.
Okay, so hold on. Interesting you said that. We actually have the numbers on exonerations. While it's true that about 50% of exonerations are black people, that's a fact, right? Could also partially be accounted to the fact that they have by far the highest arrest rate, but I digress, right? Let's even say, let's take this point, right? So while it's true that there are about 50% of exonerations, a large majority or a large portion of those are for homicide. Do you know how many homicide exonerations there's been for black people?
So are black people more violent than white people?
Hold on. I'm responding to your exonerations point real quick. To get to the point, the National Registry of Exoneration found since 1989, 36 years, there's been just over 3,300 black exonerations for homicide. That's not even 1% of black homicide arrest over that time frame.
It was so funny. I had this conversation about pedophiles and cannibal, and the whole thing with the Epstein and all that stuff.
Well, you understand Epstein is Jewish, right? He's not white.
Can you say small hats?
Or excuse me, yeah, sorry. He belongs to a certain tribe.
Well, it's just so funny how this society treats criminals, right?
Well, dude, that's listen. I'm somebody. Like I told you, I'm right wing. I didn't vote for Trump.
Hold on, last. Let me land my point. Yeah. So we have a bunch of things where black people have always been seen as criminal. I'm gonna mute both of you because I got some background. Sorry. So we got the marijuana thing, right? We got the soft and the hard disparity, right? You know what that didn't.
Don't you have to choose to smoke crack, bro? Like, come on.
Hold on, last. Hold on, please. Just hold on. You're choosing to be again. You're choosing stats. You're choosing numbers that it don't look good for black people. But hold on, last. Hold on. You're not willing to see the systemic issues, though. And we're not gonna push it on our people like that. You feel me?
Hold on, can we talk about it? Discuss
hold on, can I just say something real quick? Hold on. Let me say something.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me add to the convo. So I'm just looking now. It says, what race has the highest incarceration rate in the US? It says Asians got 2,472. BLK people have 58,680. Native Americans have 4,604. YTs have 87,024. So it says BLK people have a percentage of 38.4%, and then YTs have 57%.
Oh my god!
So obviously, there's more incarcerated people. Seems to be more criminals
per capita strikes
that are incarcerated in the United States of America.
That proves my point, bro. Do you understand that proves my point?
What can I just
but dude, you're proving my point. You understand that, right?
Can I add to the conversation? Am I able to add to it?
Your data point just proved what I'm saying.
Am I able to add to the conversation?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, because
Sorry,
you've
let
said a
him
lot and
finish.
I've said very
Relax. Don't
little.
crash out now.
Per
Don't crash out.
capita, I've said a lot less than you said in this conversation. So can I get a portion of the live as well?
Don't be triggered now, lass.
So, like I was saying, anyway, because he talked about YT BLK is doing more crimes against YTs and whatnot. I mean, I wonder why. Let's look at the history of the
Okay, so I
United
just
States.
deserve to be assaulted
United
some
States
white.
of America.
Nobody
Okay, I've
assaulted
got
you,
a
lass.
mute
Hold on,
button.
let me end and I'll give you a response.
Yeah, I did. Sorry, Vibes. I did have to use the mute button. You know, when you're begging the person when you can speak, but I don't want you to speak.
You're
So
my
obviously,
mom. You
I
can do
don't
it.
want to use the mute button, but obviously,
Lass,
you know what I mean.
we're
You
gonna
only
give you a
use it
response.
where you're forced to use it, isn't it? So anyway, yeah. So like I was saying, so when he's talking about BLK people doing more crimes against YTs, one thing, no one's saying it's right and it's correct and it's the good way and head on, right on or anything like this. But the case being is that we cannot forget, because black people don't forget the history of the United States of America, how it was built, how it was founded, and how it was built on their backs, and then the people that run and the primary controllers and the primary domineering force of the people of the government itself is clearly YT. Things like the police force and stuff like that as well is more YT. You get what I'm saying? There's sundown towns in America existing today. There's a lot of people that are YT supremacists, a lot of YT privilege going around the United States of America, and they've dealt with a lot of unlegal and unfair justice system. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they're more likely to be suspected of being a criminal than YT people and whatnot. So we can't just forget or act blind and deaf and dumb to the history of the United States of America. That follows, fortunately, and maybe unfortunately for you, that history will always follow you. That is literally part of you guys' record. You understand what I'm saying? Regardless of whether you say, yeah, but it wasn't me and whatever, this is what my foreparents did. But at the end of the day, you guys reaped the benefits of what happened to BLK people in the United States of America. That's what made America what it is today. You understand what I'm saying? So no, that history follows you everywhere you go. So it's not a surprise to me. I'm in the UK, and whilst I may not have known that, and I've just discovered that from you saying, hey, BLKs have committed more crimes against us than we have against them, it's also not a surprise. You know what I'm saying?
Well, okay, are you done, sir? I don't want to interrupt. You done?
Well, now I'm done, yeah. So what I need to
All
say.
right, well, I just wanted to say, okay, and if I could just take a minute or two to respond. That was poetic. Genuinely. I could not have scripted a better response right there to prove my point. Like, I made the point where I pointed out many different historical examples, surveys, empirical data sets, etc. You responded to all of that by making two main points. The first point was a data graph you cited of America, which quite literally proved my point. I'll quickly explain why, okay? Because based on population size, this is why people talk about per capita, okay? Because per capita, what it does, it puts every single group by the same criteria. It puts, let's say you have 3 groups with different population sizes. Okay, well, you can use per capita to say, let's take 100,000 of each group and see what rate see how many crimes they commit. Well, that is an average rate, and that's a better way to track it than just looking at overall numbers. Because if you go to Japan, most people committing crimes are going to be hold on, let me finish. Because if you go to Japan, most people committing crimes are going to be Japanese, because there's mostly Japanese people there. But Japan is a very safe country, so that's not a very honest representation. This is why we use rates. Number 2, okay, and I interjected because I was exasperated. You literally said in response to my survey, which is incredibly large, more likely to yield accurate results, oh, white people are 38 times more likely to be victims of violent crime than black people. You say, oh, well, because of historical play, racism and slavery and shit. Yeah, that actually, I'm not surprised. Basically implying, you said cheekily, oh, well, I'm not justifying it, but you're implying it. And I just simply have to say to that, when your point is, when your 2 points are ignoring factual data and then misinterpreting it while still proving my point, and then basically telling me why I deserve to be slaughtered or assaulted, why would I not be racist? Please explain it to me. Please. Why should I treat you kindly if you don't care if I'm killed?
I'll say this as the last thing I'm going to say, because what I don't do, I don't get into big, heavy debates over these things. I just say what I say, and I say.
Yeah, you don't like intellect, do you?
You could call it that. You know what I mean? Look, let's have a look. Let's have a look at black fatigue versus white fatigue, for example. It says black fatigue is the emotional, physical, and psychological exhaustion experienced by black people due to constant exposure to racism, microaggressions, and the need to prove their worth. YT fatigue refers to the exhaustion, what he's displaying right now, white individuals may feel when engaging in anti-racist work or confronting, discussing, and learning about systemic racism. You see? That's YT fatigue, my friend. Go ahead. You can have the floor, Alan.
Yeah, actually, I'm fatigued. I'm tired that all of my big cities are unlivable. I found it funny that you invoked quote unquote sundown towns. Like, yeah, those totally are still around and functioning, right? But oh yeah, you claim they are. Let's say they are, right? Well, you know what's worse than a sundown town? You think I, as a white person, can walk through Detroit at night? You think I can do it? You think I can go to Birmingham, Alabama and walk down the street with my iPhone and my AirPods? Are you fucking kidding me? Do you understand how many places white
Yes, you
people can go
can.
in this country? Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I as a
I'm
white
from the
person can
Midwest. You
walk
most
down
definitely
downtown.
can,
I
sir.
can
You
walk
need to
down
relax. You're
Favorite,
foaming out
I
the
can walk down
mouth.
8 Mile, right? And
favorite.
not get
Welcome to
robbed,
the
right?
panel. Let last land his point, and then I'll get to you.
It's so funny. Like, it doesn't matter. This doesn't matter what historical examples I use, what surveys I cite, what empirical data sets I cite. It doesn't matter what facts I give. It literally just does not penetrate your brain because you do not want to hear any other view. In your view, all white people are simply devils. Okay, I am actually at least talking with you and engaging with your ideas and hearing out your argument and responding accordingly. I'm at least treating you with respect. You just put me in a box and say, "Oh yeah, you whitey and shit." You wouldn't piss on me
They
if I
did
was.
not
Hold
say
on,
that.
let me lay my plane. Let me lay my plane. You wouldn't
Who's
piss
he
on.
referring to?
I'm
Or a
I'm
white
done
devil.
right here. Hold on. Let me
Last,
finish.
let me
Hold on.
say
No,
this.
Who's he referring
wait.
to?
Let
All
me
right,
finish.
land your point. Land
Yeah,
your
I
point.
am.
Who's he referring to, though? I'm just trying
I'm
to
done
find
right
out.
here.
I
Hold
want to know
on.
where the conversation is.
I don't know what
Let
he's
me
talking about.
finish.
Go
Let me
ahead.
finish. You wouldn't piss on me if I was on fire. And a lot of black people feel that way, okay? And while I might not
That's
have
crazy.
hatred for you, yes, I am racist. And the reason is because so many black people have complete apathy towards white people. And that's not, oh, you're racist, okay? That is literally, if you are pillaged, all of these things happen to you, oh, this is good because of historical play. Well, I'll simply say this. Let's ride it to its result. Yeah, when white people are gone, white people are a minority, yeah, I'm sure the Asians and the Mexicans will treat you better. I'm fucking sure. Yeah. How about you
Awesome.
wait on that? How
All
about
right.
you look what
Thank you,
China's
last.
doing in
Appreciate
Africa?
No,
that. Appreciate that.
you just
Unbelievable.
So here, I do want to respond to that before I let favorite up or introduce her. You know, like when stats are available, last like things are skewed, or like there's a bias because the way that you want it to make sense to you. You know what I mean?
So
And we learned that in
self-reported surveys are
statistics, right?
biased, or
Last. No. It's just like your own. You
give me
look
the
at
bias stat. I want to hear it.
like the ones that you brought up, right? But you're only
What's
looking at
that?
your
What one?
demographic. You know what I mean? So if you look at the opposite, obviously they're going to look at it a little different. That's all I'm saying. But anyways, last, where do you get this energy? Like, who did something to you? Who did something to your girl? Or like, was there a black man that did you
This
dirty or
is
something?
you guys weirdly fetishize our women. Like by every
I
single
did
no,
not even
literally
ask
by
that.
every single account. You can look at online dating surveys. You can look at college. You can look at colleges that have studied this in depth. You can look at self-reported surveys. By far and away, white women are literally the least likely women to go outside of their race, and the least likely they're to match with outside of white people is black people. By every account written to write. But
All right,
it's
last.
always oh, did a black guy fuck your
Last,
girl?
we
No,
kind of like curved around the whole subject.
no,
Right? I was
dude.
just like, well,
What's
who hurt
wrong
you?
with
Who
them?
hurt you? You know what I mean? That's
Right.
all.
It's just the same 3 talking points every time. It's, oh, did a black guy fuck your girl? Oh, why do you care?
That's
Oh,
not
That's
what I
how white
said,
people think,
man.
though. Like how
that's
we
how
have
you
our
think.
thinking, but they think scary like that too. That's kind of weird that you let it consume your brain.
Welcome to the panel. Can you introduce
You
yourself?
know, black people are more addicted to pornography than white people
No,
are.
he wants to come back up here.
Oh, black. Okay, Favorite, can you please introduce yourself with your race, if this is where you're from, and if you're
Oh
responding?
yeah, I'm Favorite. I'm from America. For simplest, I just say I'm black. I'm Black American. I'll just say it like that.
Welcome to the panel, sister. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hey.
Hey, have we spoken before, Favor?
Yeah, I like your panels. It's controversial.
Did we have a little debate before?
Uh-huh. But it was nothing
Oh,
like crazy like that.
no, it's cool. Let me follow you back. Let me follow you
Oh,
back. I
okay.
thought you
Yes,
was
yes,
just,
yes.
we disagreed, but it was cool. You know, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I'll invite you up
It's funny
tomorrow,
how you
don't
have
worry.
football up here real quick. Do you know that the NFL actually got exposed 'cause a couple of years ago
Well,
in
hold
a
on. I think
federal
Favor,
lawsuit? They
we're
made
gonna
the
we're gonna go off a bit.
Yeah,
Sorry,
let
Favor.
let
No,
favorite.
it's okay, y'all. It's okay. I just
Oh, I'm sorry.
challenged.
I'm sorry, Favor. I didn't know you were speaking. I thought you stopped. So I was
Oh,
just.
I'm just making sure she landed, and then we have
Oh, okay.
open pen. We'll have
Well,
open pen.
if she says it's fine, I just want to make one comment.
It's my fault.
And again, this is not me.
I just wanted to know if I recognize her because she was following me, and I was thinking, where do I know her from? Voice
You
sounded
guys had a
familiar.
little back and forth, a little banter.
No, but it was cool, man. She was cool. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't nothing deep like that. You get me? But it was a little disagreement thing that we
It's a
had.
good challenge, you know what I mean?
It was.
Well,
Yeah.
you know.
Anyways,
Mm.
last, what do you want to talk about football, bro?
Well, I was only going to make one comment, and this isn't coming from me. This is literally from the NFL themselves, the National Football League. Okay, they had a federal court case a few years ago where it got exposed that a key component of the argument having to do with basically insurance payments for retired players and taking care of them, etc. The NFL made the argument. This is from the NFL. Okay, they made the argument that they shouldn't have to extend to the same extent to black players as they do white players, not because of their race, but because black people, their brains are small and they're less cognitively functional than white people's brains.
Do you believe that? What?
This is what the NFL said. The NFL
I know, but do you believe that? Do you believe that?
Well, black people have a lower IQ.
So you know the whole quarterback thing, right? That's why there's a lot of
all the best quarterbacks happen to be white.
I mean, that's your perspective.
Who's the best black quarterback of all time? Lamar Jackson?
Black people do not have a lower IQ, by the way.
By every account, they do. But okay.
I'll show you. I'll show you how. By every account, we don't.
Yo, Moist,
I'll prove to you.
Let me introduce you, please, brother.
Yeah, introduce a god first before I educate this man.
Hold on, give me a second. Black, you're back on. Last, let's just. Oh my God, last. I think this is the first time I've had a white man on this panel. All right, no, actually, this is the second time. But the other guy was.
First time. You
He
lied.
wasn't so in his feelings like last, man. So let's try to let's. I feel like this is a therapy session. Go ahead, Most. Welcome up to the panel.
You know,
God.
by the way, you know, Favorite didn't get to speak though. I actually want to
No,
say.
not
I know
really.
she passed her.
Well, yeah,
Favorite,
we're
you
going
wanna say
good.
anything? You wanna say anything?
But what about number two? Like you said, if the NFL owner benches the FBA over a tether, what do you mean?
So the whole so I was doing parallels between you know how they say immigrants are taking people's jobs, you know, black immigrants or even Mexicans, right? So in the system of NFL, we're all in this corporation or business that doesn't care about who immigrates here. They're gonna go work for the man. You feel me? So I looked at it as players having to get benched over another good player. You know, some people come here on their own merit. Other people are, again, we don't have a choice. I mean, you have a merit, right? You have a skill set, you know? And so when people are looking at immigrants taking people's jobs, so I was doing the parallel with this. If you're not gonna the tether's the immigrant. So we have a bunch of African people that play in the NFL. You know, I have another thing for that. But I was just flirting with this idea, you know. But
because they let someone that would like the halftime show, it was really just black Americans really performing, and then it went left with that one. So I still can understand where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
What, did you not like the Super Bowl?
No, the Super Bowl was.
But is that because you guys are more aligned with FBA and you know the immigrants need to go?
Well, it always. Oh no.
It's because we see through the propaganda of what it was representing.
Do you guys support Trump?
Can I land, brother? Black Americans, I
want you to introduce yourself, Most, please, with your race.
Okay, my name. Well, I'm 28 and I live in Pennsylvania. I'm a Black American, but we don't think on a surface level when we interpret what we're watching. One, we're interpreting it from the perspective of an American. So one, what is our country doing?
Yeah.
Right? No differently as if you guys had a parade in Africa, or if you had any event in your nation, you would break down what your country and what your leaders are actually trying to convey, right? So we know that sports here in America, it's a progression of the Roman circus, right? It's an auction block, if you will, right? So we're Black Americans aren't looking at it as a fucking, well, some of them are looking at it as a job opportunity, but not in the sense of how Africans look at playing football. Most Black Americans have an opportunity to actually make it to the NFL, but we have other things going on in life, right, that stop us sometimes from achieving that goal. Y'all, since your livelihood is riding on staying in this country, a lot of y'all are dependent on going to that college and getting straight A's and being the best athlete on the, like, we don't give a fuck that much. We're gonna end up, we could be there anyway, right? So it's y'all gotta understand that it's not a competition. It's only a competition to y'all, right? Y'all have this takeover mentality. Y'all go to different people's countries talking about takeover, takeover. If Black Americans, if we fled to a different country, which we never would because we don't flee, we created a better life in our own country, not only for us, but for everybody else, right? If we were to go to another country, we don't have a takeover mindset. We have a help you build mindset, right? So this is the difference. Outside of that, right? We are the most athletic. We're the most athletic.
Why would you say, oh, really?
Outside of that, we're the most athletic people.
Didn't
on
my
this planet.
forefathers and mothers help your forefathers and mothers become wealthy?
Let the brother win.
Yeah, outside of that, we're the most athletic on this planet, and that's the least of our capabilities.
That's
right?
true. Do you know why that is?
No. Last. Let me go
genetic.
because last. You can try to antagonize. Let me address him directly, right? Because
oh, you need to land. So I think
you can wait as well. You don't need to tell me how to go about. I'm talking. Just wait.
We're gonna have an open panel
land, right?
Yeah, I know.
The same way you don't want someone else to tell you when to land because you're a grown ass woman,
because he's crazy. I already know of him. Like, he's not gonna.
Okay, so this. I'm just gonna answer him directly, right?
You wanted to talk to him first, and then he got caught up on Africans. All right, but go ahead.
You already know your time here in America is up, and you guys are handing over the keys. Fuck this football argument. You know your judgment is near, boy. So you can come up here and do the genetic hee hee ha ha, but you know you are answering to the most high. Do you
want to talk about that?
No, you're answering to the most high. So you can tap dance and make all these jokes, but the reality is you're stepping into your judgment, and I know you can feel it. So that's all. I have to say.
All right, hold on. So if I can respond to that,
some responses from Black, and then Favorite, and then I'll let you.
Hold on. As the representative white on the panel, if I could respond, or if he wants to talk.
You're not white. You're pale. You're actually pale.
Okay,
you're actually pale. That's what you really are. You're pale. You're not white.
Okay.
You get no privileges here.
You don't even know what you are. You don't even know what you are. That's the funny thing.
Guys, chill. One sec. I was gonna say.
You're talking to a real educated Black man.
I did kind of feel him on that. Though I can't lie though, vibes. I did kind of feel him on that one. What he's saying. I was thinking, oh, maybe these FBAs do have a black side after all. But anyway,
you're a pale man. You're not white.
No,
you're
but
pale.
like for real. Let me just get a quick response in anyway. My response is not going to be, look, this is all I'm going to say is my response, right? Let's go by the response, right? It says this, right? It says data. Look, let's get the sources first. National Institutes of Health.gov, PubMed Central, and NIH.gov, right? Science.com, The Globalist, and so on and so forth. There's so many sources, right? And it says this: data indicates that on average, Black immigrants in the United States tend to have higher levels of educational attainment, higher median household incomes, and higher rates of college graduation compared to native-born African Americans. While both groups face racism, while both groups face racism. So we don't want to hear about no Head Start bullshit. While both groups face racism in the United States, studies suggest that disparity in socioeconomic outcomes is driven largely by immigrant selectivity, quote unquote, where those who have the means and opportunity to immigrate are often already highly educated or skilled professionals in their home countries. And it says the socioeconomic performance and outcomes, and here it says, look, education. Black immigrants are more likely to hold a bachelor's degree or higher compared to native-born Black Americans. Studies have found that Black immigrants, particularly from certain African and Caribbean nations, are among the most educated groups in the US. Then we look at income, and it says research shows that Black immigrants often have higher incomes than native-born Black Americans. However, this advantage varies, with immigrants from English-speaking countries in Africa and the Caribbean often performing better than those from other regions.
You're just trying to dunk on
Black Americans
Wait,
were
source? What is your source?
What does that have to do with what he said?
Wait, what is your source? What is
Why
your
did I get to
source?
respond to what he
Anyway,
said?
all right, guys, relax. I
Hold yourself.
gotta strike.
Hold
I
your
gotta strike. Guys, I'm on my last limb on this account. Please do
What
not.
is your source?
Why didn't I get to respond to what the most?
He's gonna
Guys,
put it in the
mute-
comments. He's
mute
gonna put it in
up.
the comments. Last, you're gonna be low last. I'm just going down the line.
Hey, Black,
Makes no sense as far as
Black, what is your
conversation,
source,
So,
bro?
Black, did you land your point? So I can
What is
Wait,
your
oh
source?
my god.
All right,
Thanks
Vibes,
for
I'm
being
gonna have to
patient,
start
baby.
muting people, yeah.
Niggas
Because,
don't cite
I-
sources
I-
anymore. They just
Black is my
talk.
mod,
Yeah.
guys. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that
Google,
I
are you
think,
reading a book?
I think these words are triggering people.
What? No,
So
I'm
you-
just
do you wanna
asking
mute
where the
up?
data's
Relax,
coming
bro.
from.
Do
All
your
right.
research instead of arguing with Black.
I've just muted
will-
up. Thank
we
you
will
very
There's
put
much.
no
the sources in
research
the
to do
comments.
because
We'll
I
put
know the
sources in
truth
comments.
behind it.
All right, I'm gonna have to mute him,
We're
guys.
just gonna put the
Okay, he's
sources in the
crashing out.
comments. It's
If
fine,
it's
guys.
actually that
Nobody's
bad,
crashing out.
what's his name? The most.
Source.
What I could do?
You're
just let you
crashing
know,
out about
I
a
told
source.
you.
we can,
No,
guys.
it's
Just let
Ask
you
for a
know.
source.
Hold
How is
on,
this
Let's have
Vibes.
this
crashing out?
conversation, guys. Please,
Or I can
please.
drop him
Not
down
do
and bring
this,
him up when I'm
please.
ready for him. If he's unable to
Please
compose
just like
his
guys,
emotions.
respect the panel, please.
Right.
We're gonna
If he
get. We
can't,
got
yeah.
this. We got this. Let's
Thank
let's
you.
lead
If he
by
can't
example.
gather his emotions and get some emotional stability,
Yeah,
and
I just
impulse
asked for a
control,
source.
we'll have to
I
drop him
got
down
you,
and bring
Monk.
him
We're
back
gonna put it
up.
in the
For a
comments.
source, brother.
Relax.
Right. So like I said, so anyway, so then it goes to so we just dealt with education, we've looked at income, and then it says the academic achievement. It says immigrant origin Black students have been found to outperform their US born counterparts, earning higher high school grades and demonstrating greater persistence in college. And then so basically there's quite a few things here. I'll just maybe just read two more pieces because there's too much stuff. It says the US immigration system often favors highly skilled, educated, and affluent individuals. Therefore, many BLK immigrants arrive with a head start in terms of human capital. And this is saying the key reasons for the disparity. So it's telling you what some of these nuances are. That's often said. But anyway, so the point being is that, he said the sources, he wanted to know sources. And those sources are things like National Institutes of Health.gov. Other sources are things like annualreviews.org, things like theglobalist.com, sciencedirect.com, things like PubMed Central, PMC.gov. And then we got more again from them, and then more from National Institutes of Health.gov. So those are the sources you've been provided with. You can do your research on that. But it sounds to me like, those that have this FBA mind, hey, we're born in America, we're America first. Those that align with Trump and align themselves with ICE and all these
Dude,
people
like
say they're
10%
doing
of Black people.
I'll
marvelous,
educate this
fantastic
clown
job. It sounds like, they're
because
really
that was just
unhappy.
hilarious.
Yeah, they're
Hopefully
unhappy
you're done.
because, like the
Can
Well,
sources
I
if
say,
you-
You let this guy
like
talk
the
on
real
sources
quick?
say,
Oh my
they're
gosh, like
being,
stop
being
yelling.
outperformed. They're being outperformed.
I'll show you
by the Black
outperform.
immigrants. So of course they want the Black. And here's the last thing. Here's the
I
very
know
last
he's
thing, guys.
long-winded. All right, guys. It's
Yeah,
hanging.
no. But here's
I'm waiting
the
for
very
him.
last thing. Here's the very last
Black
thing.
is
This
my
for
mod. He can
for
talk
educational
forever.
purposes. It's always got to be educational purposes. Here's the last thing. Right. So we know that America's population is around 350 million people, approximately. 48 million people in the United States are BLK. They're Black people. In that 48 million, the data says that approximately 5 million out of that are Black immigrants. which leaves roughly about 43 million African Americans. FBAs themselves, they sit as a little tiny number inside that, hiding inside that massive number of 43 million African Americans. Then the data also says that 91% of the total immigrant population in the United States is non-black. They're not even black. But they have an issue. They don't have an issue with the 42 to 43 million non-black immigrants, but they have all smoke and chimney for the small handful of just 5
What are
million
you
black
talking
ones.
about? We want
Of the
all of them
5
gone.
Hey,
I'll educate
don't worry
you if
about
you're
it,
ready.
man.
He's
We
almost
don't.
done. He's almost done. He's almost done, guys.
5 million black immigrants in the United States, and you only have smoke and chimney for them, but not the 43 million non-black
Wrong.
immigrants.
Stop
I
interrupting.
land.
They are
I
so
land.
hurt.
It
They
burns.
can't.
I know it burns. All
Cannot
right,
take
but it's
it,
facts. It's
bro.
fact.
Thank
Let me
you.
go on mute.
Nah,
Thank
I'm
you,
equal
Benji.
Yeah, thank you,
opportunity
Black History, for that
deportation,
information,
freedom.
and thank you.
Thank you so much, man. That
Let's
was
go.
great
Let's go.
information.
The
Month is
most
being
addressed me like
sarcastic right
5
now.
minutes ago. I
Month.
never got to
All right.
respond.
How am I gonna do
Whoa.
Oh
this?
my God.
How am
I
I
just
gonna
got
do this
one
favor?
question for
How am I
the
gonna do
black,
this?
right?
All right.
Who are the
Or
wealthiest
the black
melanated
is
people in the
crazy,
world?
bro. That's crazy.
Who are the wealthiest melanated people in the world?
Black
That answer,
Americans.
right? First of all, it's a
I don't
rhetorical
know.
question, but the answer to that will
You have a
dismantle
quarter
everything you
white
just
DNA
said.
on average. You know
Who
that?
are the wealthiest melanated people in the world?
Do you know
I'll
Black
wait.
Americans have a quarter white
Who?
DNA? Yeah.
I'll wait. No. Everything he just said about, well, they come
Who?
here and they generate
Could there
more
be a
wealth.
genetic
And
aspect there?
who are
Could
the
there
The
be both?
wealthiest
most. Just
melanated
hold
people in the
on.
world?
Who?
Black
Black
Americans.
Americans on
Point
average
blank,
have 20
period.
And
to
that's
20.
coming from a honky.
No.
Okay, now
I'm not
let's
done. I'm not done. I already dismantled the wealth part that he was trying. All the fake ass statistics he went off. I just broke that down with one fact. We're the wealthiest black people in the world. Y'all are all right if you want to go by black, right? Now let's go outside of that, right? In America, majority of the cities and towns that were
Who's the wealthiest black man in the world? Dangote. He's African, but go ahead. Go
in that
ahead.
land.
Is Zay up there?
See, you see how I just dismantled the finance thing? Now let's go to the education thing. Before tuition existed in America, right? Do you know that college was free? Do you know why tuition was created? The black. That question isn't rhetorical. You can answer it. And I have the decency to have a dialogue and a conversation, so you can come off and answer it right now. Why was tuition created in America? The black.
What playing? What created for it?
Why was college tuition created in America?
You go ahead. I'll let you speak. I'll speak.
Of course, you don't know the answer, so I'll answer it. The Englishman has so much arrogance.
Being the most, you said that black people in America are the most wealthiest people, but the richest black man in
We're
the
the
world.
no. As a whole,
Go ahead.
don't go. We're not going off of one person that doesn't give any wealth back to any
You
of those
realize
Africans.
college tuition was popularized in the 1970s?
He's trying to name one Nigerian that doesn't give shit back to Nigeria. Fuck out of here.
You do know that college tuition started
So
in the
I'm talking
1970s.
about.
He says that black Americans are the most
I'm
wealthy.
talking about spending power of a spending power. Black Americans spend
their money together as a collective to get rid of the projects. Make that make sense.
Black American spending power is way past Nigeria, so relax with that one fucking politician that is corrupt and in bed with in bed with Europe. Okay, now
there's so many ways. You know what I mean?
Come back, but I need to check you.
They're actually black.
Here's what I'm saying, but you know what, Vibes? Why that don't help his point? Because of this host, he says that there's way more black wealthiest people in the world that are black Americans, right? They're the wealthiest of all of the melanated people. And also, that means with so many millionaires and billionaires.
don't drop me down.
They haven't got rid of the projects. Jesus Christ!
No,
that's
listen.
a good idea.
Let me answer. Let me keep going. I'm not gonna get stuck again.
Oh my
Stuck on that. Let me land.
That's sad, man. That's very sad.
Okay, so this is the reality, right? Who fought for you guys to?
The reality is that you're back in the comments, bro. Stay muted, please.
No, but for real though, if you hear what he's saying here, that don't help his point. He's saying that the black Americans are the most wealthiest people in the world. So why ain't they got rid of the projects, bro? You know what I'm saying? Why they got rid of the projects? Why they
I
not
mean,
putting
like,
all
dude,
their-
have you
why
seen
not putting all their
continental
funds
Africa?
together?
Is
There's so many of them. There's so
is
many.
continental
of them.
Africa
It's
doing any
beautiful.
better? I'm sorry, it's like
Africa is beautiful. Last.
Oh my gosh, hold on. So last, are you a European man?
Yes,
but so why
or
is he
well, I
talking
live in
about
America.
Yeah, and he's there speaking on these black issues, like say he's part
Yeah.
of
Tell
it.
me, you prove me wrong.
They
Tell
double
me.
teamed you too, Black. You saw that?
Say that
Well,
again,
no, I don't
Vibes.
really have a side here, but this guy's talking when he comes from you immigrated from. You are British Black. You are not.
Oh my
You have
God.
no
Black
long
Americans do
history.
that to you too, Black.
Well, hold on real quick. You are Black in Britain, right? So you're not like a Black American who's been here for hundreds of years. Your family immigrated sometime in the last few generations. So
So what's a legit black
within
person to you, Black?
within.
So
What's a
what?
legit?
Your people stole out the land. I
Well,
don't give a fuck.
well, I'm
You
saying you're coming
immigrated.
from Africa, which is
How you talking to me about
especially
immigration?
underdeveloped in every sense.
Your people stole out the land
What?
in
Class,
the
are you
United
sure?
States of America. You took it from the indigenous people. You enslaved black people because you couldn't do the work that
Ever
lay
heard of the
yourself.
Bantu expansions?
You know what I'm
You
saying?
think
You
Black
guys are the biggest grapers on the planet. That's your history. Is grape and pillaging and theft and stealing and you know what I mean? That's
Pedophilia,
what you guys
cannibalism.
do. You glorify war.
Do you think that
You
Black people were
glorify
less violent? Do you think, or it just wasn't documented? Look up the
Black.
doc.
I don't know why you so harp on
the
that. That
biggest
black people are
PDFs.
more violent.
You know what I'm saying? This guy needs to come out of black
I
people's
wonder
business.
why they're violent at last.
Come out of black people's business, my guy. You ain't got a history that
I've
we
been
can pick up.
respectful.
You're not
but,
going to
people don't
convince
let people
other
speak.
black people that we're
We
not
can't
good for
glorify
ourselves.
Easy to say you're right when you just
because your culture is about stealing other people's cultures. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a culture of your
when you
own.
just mute me and then you say you're right. It's easy to do.
No,
that.
but
How about you let me
you
respond?
do have to
Can
remember
I
though.
All right,
Fair
lads, just
speaking,
wait.
you are
We
in
got bigger
BLK's
before
people's
you.
business.
Is when we're
Okay.
going to get you.
He's trying to
You
justify
guys just come with
himself.
sources.
No cussing, no
No, but for
xenophobia, no
real.
racism. Please,
You remember the
let's have a
FBA that was
cordial
up here a little while ago? Even he done told him, like, stay out of black people business. Even I'm telling him, you know what I'm saying? No, when you see black people arguing or black people debating with each other, don't start trying to get in our business, start taking a side. We still recognize you're still the enemy at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
Is a Ukrainian
know
your
your
enemy?
place, my guy. Know your
How
place.
far does that reach, though? Is a Ukrainian your enemy? Even though Ukrainians never did anything to black people historically, they never owned black people, they never discriminated against them. They've hardly even been in North America.
But trust me, we're not figuring out
Was Irina Zarutska an enemy of black people when she got stabbed for being white, even though she's an immigrant from
Why
Ukraine?
you use TikTok friendly words, bro?
Or excuse me, sorry. Yeah,
Vibes that you want to look after your life. It's up to you, bro. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Please, relax. Just relax. We're gonna get you.
Relax, dude. Like I've hardly spoken in 15 minutes.
I know, but I'm gonna get you.
The guy's up here as a YT in a black conversation.
I know.
And then he's got no profile picture and he's got one follower and he's following 2 people.
To debunk anything I've said.
Get the fuck out of here, man. Do you know what I mean? Go get a real account and then come back up and try
That's
again.
true.
You know what I'm saying? Come here disguising himself. He's too afraid to show his face or to show anything about him. He got one follower, no profile picture, and you're following 2 people.
It's
Give me a
wild
fucking
though how
break.
he's trying to
Talking about he ain't got
about
priority
us.
to speak. Well, duh. You know what I mean? You come up here for he was going to exercise YT privilege with no profile picture and you got 1 follower. Give me a break. But yeah, it would have been good to hear what the other guy was saying. But I guess the stats was why did he get dropped again?
But what's this whole thing? He was.
I don't know.
What's this whole thing with Black Americans like proclaiming that they're the best or the richest compared
It's a
to every
superiority
other
complex,
Black
man.
people?
It's a superiority complex because they live in it's a tunnel vision thing. Obviously, they live in states. States is a massive place. We do know that. Okay, fine. Like America's big. You know what I'm saying? The population of America is about 350 million people. What's the population of the diaspora? 350 million people. You get what I'm saying? So the population of America is literally the same as the entire black diaspora that sits outside of the African continent. Do you get what I'm saying? So yes, America is big. You know what I mean? You know, a lot of states and whatnot, a lot going on in this place. Obviously, you know, they seem like the central hub of entertainment, music, and sports, and all of this sort of stuff. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know. So yeah, I get it. You know what I mean? They're very like, oh, you know, this is America. This is, you know, the flag and all this allegiance and pledging and all this sort of stuff. Like, for example, we have a different mentality in the UK. Whilst some Americans may argue that, or whilst many may argue that the Americans are living in the belly of the beast, I've heard a lot of Americans argue and a lot of other people argue that we in the UK live in the belly of the beast. After all, who did America get their independence from? They got their independence from England, from whiteys in England, this very country here that I'm in today. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about Jamestown, Virginia, that's a British colony, right? 1619. They had the 13 colonies known as, quote, the 13 colonies. That's what the Brits had in America. So they were literally ruling things out there in America. You know, these whiteys in America are Europeans, make no mistake about it. So when they talk about go back to where you come from, they go back to where they come from. They'll be going back to Germany. They'll be going back to England. You know what I mean? They'll be going back to, you know, to
True illegals.
Ireland and Portugal and Spain, and you know what I'm saying. You know, so you know, so at the same time, it's
All
like
a distraction, right, Black?
many
Like
of
we're
them don't
fighting.
travel as well. Let's say everything. I've been to. I mean, I haven't been to the United States. The closest I've been to the United States, obviously, Jamaica is obviously my background, right? So obviously, I've been to
They come
Jamaica.
through,
I've been
Black.
to
Cali.
which is the Americas. I've been to what's that place called? Canada, and I've been to Mexico. Haven't yet been to the States. I have family that live in Chicago. They've been there a very long time. I have family that live in the Bronx, New York, so they've been there for a very long time as well. I haven't yet been to the United States. I was looking to go. Am I in a rush? Not with what I'm seeing right now. Definitely not in a rush. I can wait. A lot of people can wait right now with what we're seeing. There's a
You're
lot
meeting
going
up here on TikTok. You know what I mean? Favorite, do you want to respond to any of this?
I mean, I really like hearing the knowledge and his input. I really don't have anything to rebuttal because I know my history, and I don't. What is there to argue about? You know,
I
and
mean, I want
where
to
he's
hear. Sorry, Faye. I do want to hear your views. You know, and it's not about combating you. I just really want to know what your views are. Like, are you FBA? Are you indigenous? You know, like, is that what you believe? Or you know what I mean? Or what do you believe about some of the stuff that you've heard on the panel? I don't mind if you disagree. I'm not here to, let's say, right, I want to combat what you're saying. I just want to know, generally know, what are your actual raw, organic, you know, unapologetic, real views. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying?
well, you probably heard it all before anyway, but I don't know. I'll
I
tell you
haven't.
again.
I've heard it a bit. You've been on my panel before. I remember we had a slight. When we say we had a disagreement, we didn't have tension. We just disagreed on something. But I don't
I
know
forgot what it
much
was
about your views.
too.
I don't remember, and I don't know much about your views.
As far as like views, I really don't have an ideology. Like, I don't pick a title for myself. I am a realist, and sometimes when I do hear the indigenous people, when they go back, they're more in depth, like more rooted into the land, paperwork wise, things like that. They really are more in history, American history, I
Native
guess.
Americans, you mean?
Yeah, the indigenous Americans, not the Native Americans that are pale faced, but indigenous Americans, because I had a great grandmother who was born in 1920. She told me, you know, well, she passed away in 2016, but she told me that we were Cherokee people. And I find it odd that it's like 75% people, like, especially on TikTok, like they could say the same thing. So I do try to challenge people and say, we're at in history that had all our great grandparents say these things, you know, because it was like before TikTok, before these trends, all this. So, I have yet to have like a defined answer on that. But I feel like at this point, if it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, you know, because the more facts I hear, the more I can say I'm related to this or I'm connected to this. I didn't have any type of African history. Like growing up, like I wasn't learned anything about Africa or African trends to really say like, okay, I'm African descent, except for, of course, I fell for the DNA and everything like that. But being on TikTok, it kind of like,
yeah.
So
you believe that black people are indigenous in the Americas?
I'm not gonna say all. It's too complex. It's always gonna be a conspiracy.
Do you believe you have African descent?
My dad, yeah.
Your dad?
Yeah, through just lookership, or he was born in America. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying lookership as in when I see other Africans.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, you don't hear me fighting back on anything you're saying. I just genuinely wanted to know, like, what is your thoughts? You know what I'm saying?
You sounded so down, favorite. You're like, yeah.
But it doesn't matter to me because I'm so multicultural. Like I'm so diverse. Like a lot of people here, and I feel like we're our own race of people. We could sit here and say indigenous Americans, and they could go back in time, but I'm looking at it in a future sense because
When you say lookership, is it like you see we're African? Is that what you mean when you said that?
Lookership, like mouth, teeth, nose. things like that.
Hmm.
I got big ass
Yeah,
lips,
yeah.
Big
and I got a
hips.
button. Like I do not have a
Top
big old
model
European
shit.
nose. You know what I'm saying? Like my nose, like I. So just we can't help how you're born. You know, we didn't. None of us right now asked to be pick and choose where we're born and how. You know, it is what it is.
But that's why I don't like to cuss people about the way people look and stuff, because God could have made any one of us whatever we were, like whatever He wanted us to be, right? So it's like, you know what I mean? Like you said, we can't change what we didn't get to choose. You know what I mean? Like have a little form and say, tick out a little application form and submit the form.
I'll tell you this. Why do Africans believe in the one drop rule like the European man? When that was a European thing.
What do you mean by why did elaborate on that?
Because it's like when it comes to DNA, it's like if I did have some if I just say I'm just Black American, why are you forcing? Oh, but you have African in.
It's like that's because I'll tell you why. Right. Okay. My people them are Jamaican, yeah. Born and bred in Jamaica. That's like, but you see me, I was birthed in the UK, right? I was birthed in the UK, in the United Kingdom, England, yeah. But I'm native, meaning native means to be born of the land. So I'm born of the land here, so I've become a native, right, by way of nationality. But that's like me saying, no, I'm British, I don't care, I'm British all the way. Well, I'm clearly not, because let's be real, Britain is the continent of Europe, right? And, to say that, oh, we as Black people, this is our original landmass, that's clearly not the case. You know what I mean? We're not Europeans, are we? So, so that's how it is when we hear. So just use that as an example. Yeah. So I'm more Jamaican than I would ever be British. You get what I'm saying? I'm only British based on today's construct. Say, oh, through nationality, come off the plane, boom, I had him in the hospital, you know what I mean, in the UK, so therefore he's British now, boom. You know what I mean? Here you go, your birth certificate, you're British national, right? But again, but ethnically speaking, I'm going to be more Jamaican than I would be British. You understand what I'm saying? It's not naturally my habitat in Britain, Europe. So apply that same logic now to Black people being in the Americas. We know scientifically, archaeologically, historically, and paleoanthropologically that is not Black people's natural habitat. The natural habitat of Black people is Africa. Those that are of sub-Saharan African descent. The most that it can stretch to, based on dictionaries and what's in dictionaries and whatnot, okay, according to things like the Merriam-Webster, according to the Collins Dictionary, according to the Oxford English Language Dictionary, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, according to the laws of the society, according to the National Institutes of Health.gov, for example, the most you'll find is that Black means those that are of sub-Saharan African descent, those that are of Melanesian descent, and those are of Aboriginal Australian descent. That is how far Black extends and expands its wings to. Are Black people that are in the Americas today, are they of Melanesian descent? Well, absolutely not. We know that. Are you guys, or we, and I say we because my people are Jamaican, are still the Americas as part of the continent of North America. Are Black people in the Americas of Aboriginal Australian descent? Well, obviously not. We already know this. So which group do we fall under in terms of Blackness? It ain't Melanesian, it ain't Aboriginal Australian, but it absolutely is sub-Saharan African descent.
But my thing on that,
not your natural habitat, and it's not the
my thing about that is, you said you were born in the UK, but your origin is Jamaica. You didn't even claim Africa yourself. All I'm saying is
I talked about my ethnicity. I didn't talk about origin. Ethnically, watch this, to make this very clear for you. Racially, I'm Black, right? I'm of sub-Saharan African descent. That's my racial category, and right? Then, nationally, I am British, meaning I am native to the land. I've become native by way of nationality, being born of the land. Native and indigenous are two different things. Was I born in the UK? Yes, I became native, right? So race is Black, nationality is British. Ethnically, I am Jamaican descent. That's where my people are from. But in terms of my origin, my roots, my continental roots, is absolutely African. The same
Okay.
with a YT.
But they
They,
respect your culture. Why do they not respect the culture here?
who respects whose culture? Who's they? I don't know what you mean.
Africans will come and say, I'm Black American just like you, and it throws us off here because we have our own sector, we have our own culture here. It's like, how can you call yourself a Black American, or you black, like you're a black man, like, and we have 50 states, like you said. What culture, what piece of blackness, where are you going? Who are you claiming? Who are you representing? It's not fair. I don't go to Jamaica and say, I'm Jamaican now. That I'm you. You know, it's
So
not right.
okay, so the good thing about this here discussion right now, discussion between me and you, is because literally we're quite in a similar boat. The United States of America, where you are from, is part of the Americas. It sits under the continent of North America. Jamaica, where my people are from, is part of the Americas. It's part of the continent of North America. The same as your continent is North America, and my people's continent today, North America, right? Where we're from today. But talking about our point of origin, okay, our continental point of origin is not naturally the Americas. We're not indigenous to the Americas. We don't have no anthropology that backs up. We don't have no historical records that back that we are indigenous in the Americas. We don't have no archaeological evidence that we are indigenous, and we don't have no scientific evidence that we are indigenous. So, so in terms of our continental origins, we Black people, when I say we, in the Americas, are naturally and organically and continentally from Africa. We know this. This is not based on guesswork. This is based on evidence, what we know, not what we think we know, what we do know, or what we have evidence, what we have proof for, right? So if you're saying, oh no, I ain't got no African descent, we know that's not possible. You know what I'm saying? It's as simple as that. We know that's not possible. You know, I have people too in Jamaica, right? I have Jamaicans that some of them are in Jamaica today, some of them may be in the UK. But because you see, Black people in the UK, again, ethnically, we're, you know, either from Africa or in the Caribbean. And even if we're Caribbean, we're still linked to Africa anyway. So we still have people in the UK that are Black, okay, that are Caribbean. And we have people in Jamaica today, or in America, wherever they may be, that some of them believe that they're indigenous to the Americas. Because when, for example, I deal with my country, Jamaica, the first presence of Black people stepping foot in Jamaica, okay, is between 1513 and 1517. That's actually earlier than the time that Black people first stepped foot in the United States of America, 1526 for you guys. For our nation, which is still in the North American continent, just like you on the North American continent, for our nation is 1513 and between 1513 and 1517. You know, our land was originally called Zaymaka, which was named that by the indigenous people, those that are known as the Tainos, the Arawak-speaking people, and those people are Amerindians. The Tainos are Amerindian, aka like the Native Americans. The Native Americans are Amerindian. The indigenous Americans are Amerindian. They are all Amerindian people. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to understand it's an extraordinary claim, right? To be saying that, oh no, I'm indigenous before he's been here. You know what I mean? When these people, we have archaeological, scientific, anthropological, and historical evidence that these people have at least been there for around 23,000 years. But you're saying that you're somehow indigenous and you ain't come from Africa. It makes no sense. What evidence do you have for that claim? Extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. You know what I mean? You need to at least demonstrate that you've done some extraordinary research to back up the extraordinary claims. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. This is petty, but I agree.
You don't
But
have to
I
agree. I just want to reason with you. I just want to I'm not on my panel right now. I'm like, right, let me put on my shoes and socks now. Like, let me get to work now. Boom. Start dealing with claims galore. You know what I mean? Claims in abundance. I'm just here off my life. You know what I mean? I'm chilled. Anything goes. You know what I mean? Like, vibes is cool. You know what I mean? I'm here for a genuine discussion.
If I may ask, I was gonna say that could be they're basing that. I heard that people usually base it off of like the DNA theory. You know, maybe having some people that are black and Indian mixed with them. But even then, it's like I feel like those are different from what separates from foundational Black Americans at that point. Because then we're like, are we going from? Are we talking about people that's Black and Indian descent? Like, what won't that further the diaspora in any way? I can't rise you. I'm not a mod, but yeah, that's it stands on it. I don't know if I ever got myself in a deuce there at all.
No, I didn't hear anything you said. Vibes, can you bring up Black? He accidentally dropped himself or something. So what were you saying again? One more time. You said something about FBA.
I was saying that are you going by is the FBA like the whole argument based around like DNA genetics
In regards to
in
what
terms of
him talking to me?
no in terms of like claiming that there is indigenous to America.
Mm,
If you don't know, just say you don't know.
I don't know what
Because
you're talking about because I'm still processing what he told me. And Vibes, can you bring up Black?
I just got back. Sorry, guys. I went to the store real quick. Sorry. How's everything? Everything okay?
So
He said,
my bad.
Nobody crashed out yet.
Slip of the finger. I accidentally
no, he shouldn't have talked
closed
to
the whole
me.
app. Sorry guys, I accidentally closed the whole app. I was just saying, is it favorite? I was just saying that obviously I'm here for general discussion. I'm not here to be like, let me go in on you.
No,
I'm
it's
just
okay.
really here to conversate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's great. I enjoy that. I like that. Did you hear what he said in the middle? Cause
Who Dust?
Yeah.
Big up Dust. He's been on my panel before. No, I didn't. Sorry.
I was mentioning about how somebody will mention like FBA based on like claiming they're indigenous to America based on the claim of like DNA or factors, like saying that there are some black people that are Indians because there has been found that there's some black people that are Indians. However, they don't claim themselves as like they're indigenous to America.
Look, I was is there anything favorite? Yeah, I hear what you're saying, bro. Like, is there anything that you feel like, you have questions about things that you just don't understand? You want to know something a little bit deeper, a little bit better, or something that don't make sense to you, favorite about it. You know what I mean? It's something holding you to think like, hold on a minute, it must be indigenous. We gotta be blah blah blah. Like, what is it? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is, you know what I mean, holding you back?
Because it's too many conspiracies, there's too many gray areas, I just don't like claiming it because it's always going to be something new that pops up or it's going to be a contradiction. And I am honest enough to say I haven't took it upon myself to really do my research to that degree. Like, take a whole day out to really deep, because there's already people on here that, do the most to try to prove. So I listen.
Right. What do you think I have to do? I bring up people all the time on my panel.
I
Make sure
know.
they get that microphone. Make sure they get to be heard nice and loud. You know what I mean? But respectful, of course. You're coming up to start crashing out and cuss out and all them things there. You're gonna get dropped. As simple as that. But people come up with respect. I want to hear your claims. You know what I'm saying? And that's what keeps a lot of people coming to my panel because they know they're gonna be heard. They know they will be heard. You got what I'm saying? And then yeah, like I know, we just chop it up. Like, a lot of the time we're going to be presenting on the screen like, well, show your
It
sources,
hits
show
close
your
to home,
facts.
but I'm gonna be honest with you. The indigenous, you cannot mingle Negro. You cannot mingle. You can say black since Jamaicans, Africans, everybody says they're black, right? But it's like you can't say Negro. You can't have like FBA talking points. You can't say, you can't do that because then it's contradicting, So when people say that, it's like you got to be copper colored. You have to separate yourself. And then it's getting to the point now that some indigenous people claim Mexican. and
Mm.
another thing. So that's why I kind of fall back. It's like it's getting out of control. But my grandmother never, my grandmother did tell me that, my great grandmother, but at the same time, I'm just myself. I don't
Yeah,
want to
but do you
claim
know what?
anything.
Like, I could say my nan told me that we were the Hebrews. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
that makes, yeah.
and because our nan, because we love her, it's just all got to be true. But first of all, like, it's not about whether she lied and thing. But first of all, let's prove the existence of Jesus Christ even before we start going there. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
why,
we can all, sometimes we get comfortable when we get told things. I used to believe that we must have been indigenous. I wouldn't say I met the criteria to be a pretender. I mean, I wasn't going to ham with it, but I was like, okay, we must be indigenous to the Americas. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, my people are Jamaican. That's part of the Americas.
exactly. But let me
So I
ask
thought,
you this then. Let me ask
and
you this
especially when it comes
respectfully.
from your cousin and your auntie. But when you get older, like I'm older now. You know what I'm saying?
But
I
let
got
me
two
let
little
me tell
kids.
you then, because who was there? Who was there? Didn't you say there was people there before you guys came over there?
In Jamaica,
Yeah,
yeah, it was already occupied.
and those people are gone now.
They're not all gone. They're not extinct. You know what
Oh,
I'm saying? But you know what I mean. But their numbers significantly decreased. Of course, when the whiteys came over, they came over
but
with sickness
but
and disease and wiped a lot of them out.
but can you say 50 years from now they probably be gone, and then you guys could say y'all indigenous to Jamaica, like y'all are the Jamaicans of Jamaica.
We can't say that in 50 years because we already have the history. These
Mm,
people are still here today that we're trying to claim that we're them and whatnot. They're still here. They're not extinct. They're just
mm,
they're significantly lower in number because of what happened in history, which is well recorded. But we can't be saying that we're them because at the end of the day, in 50 years from now, we can't pretend that these people didn't exist right now in 2026. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? They're still here today. So
mm,
the history speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? These people are still here. And it's like black people trying to claim that they're indigenous, but yeah, the Native Americans are right there in the land. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? And then we have evidence to see how long they've been there for. That's based on
mm,
the dating methods, radiocarbon dating, based on the genetic studies and the haplogroups, looking at the genetic markers, you know, based on paleoanthropology, how we understand the human being, yeah, evolution, adaptation, how we also understand the migration patterns that we took when we started migrating up out of Africa, how long ago it was. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? Then we look at things like the White Sands footprints, which perfectly links up with the science, perfectly links up with the paleoanthropology, when we can
mm,
see that the White Sands footprints dated in New Mexico today at 23,000 years, where they use the luminescence dating on it.
mm.
We can see that these are the migration routes they got. They literally got the footprints right here today. You know what I'm saying? So this is one of the most significant archaeological findings in the Americas. You know what I'm saying? Over plenty of other findings. You know what I'm saying? Because it really shows us, like, in real time, like, okay, cool, this is how they got here. This is how they migrated in here. We can literally see the footprints. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So and it's there today. That's archaeological evidence. So so we're not dealing with guesswork. You know what I'm saying? We're making conclusions based on the evidence.
I still feel like it's disrespectful. They call themselves black, like when they come over here, just because we held that term for a special reason. Because when I say if we go back to Negro, even though Negro means black in a different language, they don't say they're Negro. They just want to say they black.
Um, Sorry, who are we talking about?
Just Africans, period. Like I never heard an
Let
African
me
say they're a Negro American, but that's
let
Yeah,
me
what they
but
claim
chime
to
in.
be.
yeah, but
American Negroes is the proper term,
Yeah,
Farron.
you know what I'm saying?
But
no,
but
but do you know
Black
what?
American. Oh, go. What were you gonna say?
Sorry, I'll just say this real quick here, because this is really we've all got to start learning some new shit, right? Real talk. We got to come out of this thing. No. This is gonna make sense in 2 seconds. Africa has 3,000 tribes. 3,000 tribes.
Mhm.
Africa has 2,000 languages. 3,000 tribes, 2,000 languages. We already have evidence that one tribe, at least, called the Luo tribe, which is based near Sudan in East Africa, they used a word, right? They had these two words. One word was the word "ja." "Ja" means people or groups. They had another word called "kal." It means black or dark. They've all evolved over time, just like how we create slang and blah 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 today. And over time, they put the words together. They combined the two, "jakal." Jakal means black people. It means black strangers. They was already using that word because they migrated and came across other people. So there was a need now to do that. Okay, and they was already using that terminology, Jakal, by 1450. That is before Christopher Columbus even stepped foot in the United States of America. Or sorry, not in the United States, right? Before he stepped foot in the Americas. Sorry, my bad. Before he stepped foot in the Americas, and before they brought the black people to the Americas, they were already using the word Jakal, which means black people. The other thing is that's one tribe, right? They got 3,000 tribes. So what about the other 2,999 tribes? Then there's another tribe, Yoruba, right? And they have a word called Dudu. Dudu. It's spelled D-U-D-U, no space. I have a soap, for example, and one of my mods has it. He's an African American. We both have this soap. It's called Dudu Osun. It's a soap that's is dark brown. It's got a little bits of black in it. It's made naturally with herbs and lemon juice and all these sort of things. It's natural stuff, minerals, yeah. And it's called Dudu Osun. When it goes in the water goes dark brown to a blackish color. So Dudu means black anyway in this Yoruba, right? But they have another word, which is Eniyam. Eniyam means people. They were using the word Eniyam Dudu, means black people. This is again is before Columbus even stepped foot in the Americas. That's two tribes now. It started off as one became two. What about the other 2,998 tribes? Africa has 3,000 tribes. That's just two of them. Africa has 2,000 languages. That's just two.
That's
What
good.
about the other 1,998? So, we can say that whitey people are the first, they maybe that started using it to refer to an entire race using black, because these Africans, these tribes weren't saying, oh, the entire continent is black. That's not the case. But the point is, they still used those terms before whiteys had, started introducing this to BLK people or Native Americans through way of the transatlantic slave trade. But prior to that, we had already used those concepts of there being black people and dark people prior to the whiteys. So I just wanted to share that. I thought it would be useful to share that. Sorry, Vibes, to cut you.
No, I like that. I like information. I love it. Thank you so much. One more. What about the boats? They always talk about the boats.
What about the boats?
I mean, they don't. People believe that they never existed, or it couldn't have made it to the other side.
Of course they believe that. The reason why, the boats are not made out of bone. You know what I mean? It's not organic material that's long lasting for hundreds of thousands of years. The boats are just made from some wood. You know what I'm saying? They're made from wood. Maybe use screws and other things to bolt nuts and bolts. And obviously, you're saying that these boats should still be there today, basically. You know what I'm saying? So, but you can go on slave voyages and it can tell you a lot on there and show you records and documentations to do with the boats. Go on slavevoyages.com or .org? Slavevoyages.com, I think it is. And you can find enough information to do with the boats, documentation and records and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But it might be saying, oh, it's hard to believe and blah, blah, blah. And you know why it's not? You got to use common sense. If it was so impossible, then how the fuck did whiteys get there then? When you start making that claim like, oh, they couldn't have got here, we couldn't have got there by these boats. That's like saying whiteys then are indigenous then. You know what I mean? Because they have a more predominant number of whiteys in America, like 200 something million. You know what I mean? Whiteys, while black people only got 48 million, and that's including the black immigrants. So you got about 43 million, whilst they got more than 200 million of them in the United States of America. So if you're claiming that, oh, these boats couldn't have got there, then that's like saying that the whiteys were already there then. You might as well just say they're indigenous. So how the fuck did they get there then? So, you know what I'm saying? So that don't even hurt that argument. You got to use common sense. You got to use logic. You got to use reasoning and rationale.
Oh, that's good. Well, before I go in there, on that website, I want to ask you: did it show that it possibly took a stop in Jamaica and all the other islands first, and then?
Do you know what? I've only glimpsed the site. I've not. The reason why I haven't done a deep dive into going into the site and stuff like that, and like trying to find out everything down to the T, is because you know what I mean. I'm not one of the people that's like, no, I don't believe it. Like so. I've never felt the need that I really need to go in there and do a deep dive. I've seen the website, I've been on there, and I kind of just came off it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, cool. I just want to check it out, see that it's there. Like, cool, there's information there. Did I do a deep dive into find out how much and see how deep it got? No, I didn't do any of that. But feel free to go have a look. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I
Thanks.
do want to say something. Favorite. Thank you again, Black History. I'm happy to see that we can have a discussion. You know, because we're how do I put this? We're always so like quick to call some shit out. You know,
Mm.
and not like unpacking things from their perspective. And like you were saying, like I'm not coming after you. You know, I just want to
Yeah,
kind of like unpack this. You know, and
exactly,
then
man.
like let's educate each other as much as we can.
Yeah, like I'm just being so real right now. Do you know what? Most of my people in my lives, well, actually, I can't say that. That'd be so. I was about to say something that's not true. I was gonna say this side of me, most people in my lives don't even get to see that. That's bullshit. Because actually, I get very real with my followers, and you know what I mean. The people that come around my lives and support my lives. Actually, I do actually get like this. But it's just
Right.
oftentimes they see me in my game mode, like games on.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it's crunch time because obviously.
And that's what I was gonna follow up with.
For
We have people
example,
with. Oh, go ahead.
when I've ended my life today, there's a clip right now of me. Who made the clip? Pretendians. They've got clips of me right now. They've put up my image, my face, and whatever. They created a whole picture. They're sending it around each other, whatever. Why?
Then dox
They
me.
clipped a part of what I said in my life. What did I say in my life? I'm very fair. I believe I'm very fair. I've said in my life today, and they were like, "We got to clip this. This is coming from the Black History, right?" There's a video circling right now of me because I said in my life today, Indigenous Americans, aka Native Americans, aka Amerindians, right? Yes, those people, that they have Siberian ancestry and they have archaic Eurasian ancestry, whether they like it or not. And if they don't like that, they need to come to terms with it because many of them deny it, but they do have it. So they clipped that of me and said, "Look what he's saying. You see, blah blah blah." You know what I mean? And they're trying to like name call me and whatever. I don't even know, but they're rejoicing over the video. Point being is because they're thinking like, "See, he's saying it." You know what I mean? So there you go. Even he's saying that they got Siberian ancestry. When we say it, they call us this, they call us that. And
Right. That
Bro,
yeah. When
but
we
it's
say it,
true.
we're being
Right,
erasure.
but I only care about the facts. They do have, archaic Siberian ancestry and
But
archaic
we know what
Eurasian
they
ancestry.
mean when they say Siberians. You feel me? Like it's
No,
like
but
them.
it's true.
Oh,
I'm not.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't. Yeah, but they're still. But the thing is
Uh-huh.
that I tell them they have Siberian ancestry, yeah, archaic and archaic Eurasian ancestry, but they're still indigenous. They just had to travel those routes. They had to travel through Eurasia. They had to travel through Siberia and then through Beringia, the Bering Strait, right, into the Americas. But they're still indigenous. Indigenous means you're the first people in that land prior to colonization. So they, as much as they did travel through Asia into Siberia, into the Bering Strait, into the Americas, they did do that. That's why they have that ancestry. But they absolutely still are the first people in that land prior to colonization. Therefore, they're indigenous. You understand?
Right. So we just need to see proof. You know, at the end of the day, I was in the conscious community. Ivan Van Sertima, the Moors. You know, I was into. I believed it too, but the more and more we came about people proving stuff, the more and more I came to find out that
Right. And
people want to be everything but African. People want to be
Yeah.
everything but African. But that's just my people, right? Favorite.
Yeah, but for
I
them,
wanted to say something to favorite though with this Black American identity.
Mm.
You know, it's an ethnicity. It's being forced to be an ethnicity, but it's a race and a nationality, right? So even African people that immigrate here, they can claim Black American, right? Black American is not on the census. It's not on Federal Directive 15. There's only Black and African, sister, or African Americans, right? So when we're just following through the definitions and what it relates back to, like the brother was saying, Sub-Saharan African, the Black racial groups of Africa, we have, even though this is a part that gets tricky, right? It's like paper genocide. We're not going to go by their names, you know?
Yeah.
And then you're banging Black American or you're banging FBA. So again, we have to understand that people are even getting away out of that. You know, if you think black is a misnomer as an American Indian, then just stay in that lane. You know what I mean?
Right.
When we try to mix up, a lot of people say, well, you know, we think American
Listen,
Indians are like
all
80.
I care about, respectfully, is that our history doesn't get erased. Like Jamaica, shout out to y'all. Like, you got your history, you got something to stand on. Haitians, you know, too. But when it comes to us, it's like between the European man and everybody else, like what you said, like they come over here and say they Black American, the census is messed up. Is there really 42 million of us, or is it immigrant? You know what I'm saying? Like that's what means something to me, because I was born here, and it just it's
favorite.
just
Yeah, but
I heard your passion when you said Black American. You know what I mean? And there's something about like proclaiming and being sure of your identity, you know. And when we're talking about,
let me tell you like this. I'm sorry. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. Okay, Sam Du Bois got unalived by a European officer. We banded together for that. When the Klansmen came to the Black neighborhoods last year, we stuck together. It wasn't African, it wasn't Jamaican, it wasn't, respectfully, I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm just saying the people where I come from, we stuck together and pushed them away.
Again, I get it, favorite, and no one's trying to do erasure. That's what we're all talking about because of African American history, Black American history, FBA history, right? So there's a bunch of different factions, but we like to focus on the things that relate back to us, right? Favorite, and I'm not saying that people don't undermine things where, you know, you can only speak for yourself and your experience and the people that support you, you know, and you want to be validated in that, and that's normal. That's normal, and no one's saying African Americans, Black Americans are not do what happened. Like that's what's really great about these conversations too, because we have to like think about it in a nuanced kind of way, right? And while we're going through these conversations, Black Americans and Africans are talking, you know. So whether subconsciously or not, it's so funny. Black, there was what's his name, General, and he knows so much about Africa now, you know, but not in a good intentional way. But he has to look into Africa or talk to Africans and vice versa. You know what I mean? So I feel like unconsciously we are connecting, just like we have to get through this. We have to.
It's good because we learn all the nuances. Like people that understand you, and I've been trying to like tell people, especially in my lives, I try to take responsibility for what I let people know in my lives. I can't answer for everybody else's lives and what they do in it, but I try to be responsible for my own. And I try to say in my lives, right, that it's kind of like the yin and yang, right? You know that yin and yang symbol. You see the black side and it's got the white side, and you see the white side's got a tiny bit of black in there, and you see the black side's got a tiny bit of white. That's like the good and bad. In everything that's bad, there's sometimes a little bit of good, and everything that's good, there's sometimes a little bit bad. And with what we see that is bad, we say, look, diaspora wars is bad. What we have to understand, is what's happening today. So much things are inevitable. Like we can see what's happening right now. Like the YT power system is crumbling. If you Google right now, which race is on the biggest decline, it's going to tell you the YT race. If you Google right now, which race is on the biggest incline, it's going to tell you sub-Saharan Africans. And so, these things are inevitable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this whole diaspora war that's happening right now is very spiritual, but also very inevitable. This is something that's bound to happen. You know why? Just like the saying that we've all heard and we all grew up on, not all skin folk are kinfolk. There's a lot of black people, they want to see the true liberation of black people. And that's black people globally. Do you know why? Because at the end of the day, whether you want to say, whether you subscribe to nationalism, I'm American, now I just want to be American, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, you can be American, you're black. I can be in the UK, I'm black. I can be Jamaican, I'm black. Yeah, it doesn't say Barbadian, you're black. You're Trini, you're black. You're black, you're black, you're black. That's the point. The point is you're black. The point is that every single day we wake up and we go out where we go in the world, whether we're going for a holiday, whether we coming across YTs, matter where we are in the USA, YTs around us in the Caribbean, or wherever we may be. Point being, anywhere we go and every single day, we live the black experience. We never get a day off from living the black experience. Me in the UK, you think me with my long locks and being a black man that I am, with the intellect that I have, you think YTs can try to come and twist me up, intellectually speaking? Absolutely not. You know why? Because intellectually, I can read a room. Intellectually, I know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they can't make a fool out of me, even if they tried very hard. You know what I'm saying? You know, and so when they see me, even if it's in my line of work, for example, or working in housing, working in, for like, you know, often working like government work and things like this, right? And they think, well, how can he do this job and blah 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 blah, or doing managerial work and things like this? Like, how can he's black and he's got locks. To them, I'm their boogeyman. I'm everything that they look at and despise. You know what I mean? I'm black and I'm with locks. To them, that's Medusa. That's Medusa right there. You know what I'm saying to you? So, you know, because all over me is blackness. A man that knows my roots, a man that loves my blackness. I love my black culture and I love my black people. You know what I'm saying? I like the black look. You know what I mean? And I'm happy to live the black experience because I would never trade black for being anything else. I'm certainly not YT. I'm not Caucasoid. I'm not Mongoloid. You know what I'm saying? I'm black and I'm proud, unapologetically. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and I'll take that with me to the grave. You know what I mean? If I had to unalive and come back and choose what I got, I'm choosing black every time, anytime, any day of the week. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, and they know that, and that's the energy that I wear. That energy like as a cloak. You see, like in your prompt here, you got this man wearing the flag, the Sulan, and the, you know, Pan African. I wear that on me. You know what I'm saying? That's my presence. That's my energy. That's my aura. You know what I'm saying? So I'm everything that these people don't want. So at the end of the day, I'm all about black unity. I'm about black power. I'm about black liberation. You know what I'm saying? Black unity. I'm all about black love. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I don't care about whether you're in the USA or not. You live and you wake up to the black experience every day. You don't get a day off. You don't get a day off from that. You know what I'm saying? This is like when you know, sometimes I have these discussions. We talk about like mixed race. I've got a lot of mixed race people in my family. And I keep it real. I don't care if my nephews and nieces, some of them, many of them, you know what I mean, are mixed race. Not all of them, but many of them. My mother has got 10 children. There's 5 girls and 5 boys. I'm just one of the boys, right? So there's a lot of nephews and nieces. My mother's got about 32 grandchildren, including 2 of my own, right? But there's a lot of them are mixed race, right? Not all, but a lot of them are mixed race. I keep it real, bro. You know what I mean? To me, mixed race is mixed race. If you're biracial, you're biracial. You're not just black. You're not just white. I can understand why they might identify as just being black, or why might identify as just being YT, depending on which side has raised them, which side that was more intact with, more in tune with, whatever. Do you know one thing I say there? Is that unlike a biracial person, whatever you're biracial with, black and Chinese, Chinese and YT and BL, whatever you may be, biracial, right? At least with them, right? They could there's certain days in certain areas, depending on the event, depending on what day of the week it is, where they're going, and whom they're around, they may get a day off from living the black experience. You know what I'm saying? They may get a pass one day and they can live that YT experience. You get what I'm saying? We don't get that as black people. We don't get a day off from living the black experience. We live it every single day without any days off. We don't get any annual leave. We don't get a day off from having it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we don't get vacation from it. You know, we don't get a single break. We live the black experience every single day with no days off. So with that being said, and that mentality, that way of thinking, that logic, that mindset, yeah, if you can understand that, if you can grasp that or comprehend that, then you should know that these arguments about, well, I'm a nationalist, I'm Black British, you'll never be this, yeah, we're the best. Oh, I'm Black American, oh yeah, but it's pointless. because you still got to live the black experience every day, no matter where you are anyway. You know what I'm saying? And when these people look at us as black people, they don't give two shits whether you're you're claiming you're a black American. They see you as an African, and when they're ready, they'll tell you go back to where you came from. And if you're a Caribbean, they'll tell you go back to where you came from. You know what I'm saying? And if you're in the UK, they'll tell you go back to where you came from. If you're in Germany, they'll tell you go back to where you came from. You're in Europe, they'll tell you go back to where you came from. If you go to China, they may tell you go back to where you came from. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got no friends. So the fact that we're out here trying to make enemies in 2026, right? Considering Elon Musk being the the European man of South African nationality, right? Living in America, in the United States of America. And this man, he continues to talk about Europe, saying Europe's population is on a significant incline. If we don't get ourselves in check, by 2048, we're going to become the minority in the United States of America, and melanated people, they're going to treat us differently, and they're going to, gang up against us. And I'm not even joking. These are check his tweets, bro. Just follow him, and you tell me if I'm lying. Thank me later. He posts these things. He posts every couple of weeks. He'll make a post on this stuff, talking about all this white nationalism and the Great Replacement theory and all this sort of shit there. You know what I'm saying?
No days off. No days off.
Right. But you know what it is? Do you know what I have to give it to them? Because they recognize their continent. He might be the South African nationality man living that is really of European descent, but he lives in the United States of America. But guess what? He still knows his continent. He still knows his continent is Europe. You understand what I'm saying? Right. And the same with Trump and all them things. When he had that UN meeting and whatnot, what did he say? He told off Europe. He said, you guys...
They're not delineating from that.
Right. He said, you guys have opened your borders way too much and whatnot. You think he's complaining about Europe opening their borders to whitey Europeans? Other whitey Europeans stepping into Europe? No. You have to read the room. They're talking about letting in BLK and brown people into Europe. Basically, Europe is not European enough, according to what he said. You know what I'm saying? So if you're out here in this day and age, not getting with the program, not unable, you know what I mean, being mentally disabled, to be, mentally challenged at this day and age, right? Mentally handicapped from being able to understand, or that you can't read a room in 2026. There's something seriously wrong. You know what I mean? You got all your focus, all your priorities, and all your mindset is in the wrong areas. You know what I'm saying? We should be uniting as black people. You know what I'm saying? Again, we live the black experience every day, no days off. And these people, whilst they strategize and get themselves in check and in order, it's all against us. Even if we look at the Berlin Conference that happened in between 1884 and 1885, the Berlin Conference, literally a conference in Germany, YT people, 14 European nations, all rocked up to Germany, right? In Berlin, the capital. They had a conference, right? That took place between 1884 to 1885. They discussed amongst each other, themselves, how they were going to split up the African continent amongst themselves. No Africans allowed at that meeting. Meanwhile, no black people allowed at that meeting. Just the 14 European nations, kind of like a UN meeting that they would do today. And you know what the sole purpose was for them to have such a big conference to take place? It was all in an attempt so that they don't unalive each other when they're going to acquire, basically to take up the land that they're going to say, we have this. It was Spain, you take this.
Right.
Okay, France, you have that. UK, you can have this. Germany, you can have that. You understand what I'm saying to you? Russia was.
I'm going to show you a video that talks about that, because they warred with each other. So there was like some kind of understanding.
They came together in the perfect unity so that they can divide Africa. Africa didn't have all these borders. Have you never looked and thought this is very strange? Why is there this one landmass that's all together in one big joint? Why has it got 50 something presidents and whatnot in this one place? It don't make no sense. That's because they did that. They carved up Africa like a cake, and they had a meeting so that they didn't unalive each other. They came together in unity so that they don't unalive each other, and talked about, listen, this is how we're going to carve it up, and we can take different places. Africa then got split up into more than 50 different regions, less than 54. There's 54 nations today, but it got split up into more than 50 regions, less than 54, but more than 50. Okay, and that is why Africa today has this country, that country, that they were colonies. And Burkina Faso, what you see with Ibrahim Traore, what he is doing is magnificent. He is saying no to these French powers because from that Berlin conference, okay, Burkina Faso became a French colony. And literally, with him getting rid of the French and saying we ain't doing no business with them, this links all the way back to that 1884 Berlin conference. And now he's getting rid of those powers, saying, "Now fuck that. We ain't practicing French no more. We're going to be learning our indigenous
Yeah, we're taking our
languages.
own resources
We're taking
back.
our resources
Mhm.
back. And we ain't working with the UK. You know who's working with? Russia. Do you know who wasn't part of the Berlin conference? Russia. Do you know who wasn't part of the transatlantic slave trade? Russia. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Commies. That's what they say.
And that's what I have to say, you know what I'm saying? Because otherwise I can talk for ages. I do this, bro. Do you know what I
We
mean?
gotta
I do my
align with our
lives.
allies. Period.
I know my shit when it comes to these conversations. So I ain't talking about what I think I know. I talk about what we do know and what we can evidence and what we can prove. You know what I mean? Alan.
Damn. Damn. Favorite, did you get that download? Oh my God. I just put it on all of us. Anyway, sister, good to see you. We do lives all the time. It's just us on this panel. I got restrictions, a bunch of restrictions, so I'm not going. The algorithm is not working in my favor. But it was really good to meet you, Favor. Thank you so much, Black, again. Are you gonna go back live, Black?
Me?
Yeah.
What, you ending your life?
I'm gonna end it. Yeah. So I can start the algorithm again. Or are you gonna do one? That's what I'm asking.
You want to come to my live?
Yeah, I'm down. Let's go.
What should I do? Should I just do one where we just talk shit? Meaning like we just talk
Wait,
shit?
what's your position on the can biracials be FBA? Did you answer that?
Oh, I never saw this.
A quick,
I saw this,
quick.
and I was thinking this is nice, but I never read it. It says, "Can
Okay.
biracials be FBA?"
I'll break
well,
it
you can't
down,
be-
but like I just want to
well,
hear
is
your
that a
first thoughts
foundational
about
black? I don't know, but that's a good question though. Fucking hell.
it.
It's a good
Yeah,
question.
right.
I mean, I don't think I'm meeting biracial people saying that. I think I've met one actually. He calls himself Morley. He's such a weirdo. But
Oh yeah, I know what you're
that guy
talking about.
exactly. I swear he's biracial. He looks it anyway. I don't give a fuck if he says he's black. That guy's
Bad.
biracial. He ain't meeting those allegations.
So when I bring up this conversation, this question, it's like because in the black community, right, biracials, remember, like Africans are like you are what your father is, but in the biracial conversation, they tell biracials like you are what your mother is.
Mm.
And so you have this like matriarchy or patriarchy kind of like stance on. And so I don't know where that really comes from, because when I thought about the slave master and how, when you think about like Donald Trump talking about the 14th Amendment was meant for the babies of slaves.
Mm.
And then you think about how they also were the first deadbeat dads because they never gave accountability to you are what your mother is through their, because they didn't want to take accountability, you know?
Yeah.
And white women
So
that had
I
a
like
kid.
the prompt. The prompt is actually good. Actually, I'm just looking at it. I'm like, yeah, it's,
I let ChatGPT do its thing, and I just
it's
put it
pretty
in there,
cool.
and this is what it showed
It's
up.
cool. It's cool. It's a question nobody's doing. You know what I mean?
Well,
It's
okay,
well
so
done.
if you consider these people black, but not people on the continent, right? Brothers and sisters on the continent, black.
Mhm.
This is what I'm diving into, right, black? And I can do this all day about how people align themselves when we talk about interracial, right?
Uh-huh.
And stuff like that. You know, there's gender wars and all that with that too. But
Mhm.
I just hate the unique lineage, the white European lineage, the Aboriginal lineage, the African lineage. You know, the FBAs, you know how to do.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna just question them about their hatred towards Africans. And Africans, look, sister, favor. No one's trying to make you an African. You stand on what you stand on.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no problem with that. You know.
Is she still there? Favorite, you there?
I think she's still there, favor. Are you there?
Or is she going to sleep?
I think she passed out. All right, let me restart this, Black. Let's do this on your. Let's do it on your live.
You want to go there? What should I do there?
Whatever you want. You
Should I
want the
just do
prompt?
one?
I'll send it to you. Or
We could just probably another time, but because it's like
okay, do whatever you
you have
want.
to know.
I'll be over there.
Basically, I did it
I'll be
all
over
night
there.
at 6:30 in the morning. I haven't slept, so I
Like,
don't
go get
mind
some
just going on
sleep.
my live just to talk a little bit of shit. But it's like, what are we gonna talk shit about? Like when I say talk shit, I mean like anything goes. You know what I mean? Like
I know we gotta find the ops. You know the
I
ops
mean,
are
I
gonna
have one
come up.
that's called. I have a prompt that's called TED. You know, like TED Talk.
TED Talk. Okay.
Yeah, and it's like anything kind of goes on that one, so I can just put.
All
that
right, that's
prompt on.
fine. Yeah, we'll just invite people up.
Yeah, and I'll just let them know that it's just whatever goes. Yeah.
Sounds good. I'll see you there.
Hey, Fav, you there?
Nice to meet you, favorite.
Yeah, she's asleep. Yeah,
You put her to sleep, Black.
it's like 1 a.m. for her. But she sent me some hearts and stuff. So you know,
What's that
I
profile
know she-
picture? I'm looking at it right now.
yeah, I don't even know. It's like a little meme thing, jokey one.
All right, I'll see you over there.
I'll show you the live. I'll just do live now. I'll show
Sounds
you
good.
that. All right, see
I
you
got
now.
you.